The rot of fleeing the battle, wrong words of command, and tactical fiascos was a special to British Army feature in Indian battles. Captain Dumber of Her Majesty's 10th Foot earlier led a large force over 410 men in the same area, losing 50 killed from Her Majesty's 10th Foot and 76 killed from Her Majesty's 37th Foot. As you can see the map, 415 men from Her Majesty's 10th Foot and 2 companies of Her Majesty's 37th Foot are sent to relieve the minute British garrison at Ara in Bihar. Captain Dumber's rashness to advance at night, despite contrary advice by his officers, leads to one of the biggest disasters in the history of 1857-59, very nicely, kept in, secret vaults on 30th July 1857. As you can see, the relieving party under Captain Dumber, Her Majesty's 10th Foot, 415 men, as well as 37th Foot. Captain Dumber's foolhardy decision to advance at night results in the force being ambushed by Raja Kamar Singh and losing 150 officers and men, including Captain Dumber, the architect of this grand stupidity. If you can see here, he was ambushed here on this Nala short of Ara. As you can see, this is the Ganges river, Gogra river. They arrived by a steamer like this, as you can see, in the Ganges upstream, and then into Son river and disembarked here on the Calcutta-Ara road, and total disaster. Now another special to Royal British Army disaster. Captain Lee Grand, commanding 2 companies of Her Majesty's 35th Foot, on his own initiative, decided to attack the indomitable Raja Kamar Singh, reported in the Jagdishpur jungle, 20 miles north to south in length and 3 to 5 miles wide. Lee Grant's force comprised 150 men from Her Majesty's 35th Foot, 2 companies, 50 seamen from Naval Brigade, 150 men from the Rattray 6, 2 12-pounder howitzers. The result of this attack, carried out on 23rd April 1858, was disastrous, as Lee Grand, grossly inexperienced in Indian warfare, mishandled his troops, rushing headlong. He was attacked by Kamar Singh's men, who outnumbered him overwhelmingly and were supported by artillery guns. The 2 companies suffered heavy casualties, losing 104 men, including the architect of this stupid blunder, Captain Lee Grand, Lieutenant Massey, and Assistant Surgeon Clark. Forrest, the British official historian of 1857, stated in his Mutiny Dispatches and History that only 80 Europeans survived from 199, which means that 104 men from Her Majesty's 35th Foot were killed, as well as 15 men from the British Naval Brigade and artillery. A British historian consoled his readers, and the Britishers are masters in consolation. A British historian consoled his readers by stating that Her Majesty's 35th Foot did well in pursuit of Qamar Singh under Brigadier Douglas, a total whitewash. This was a false claim because the battalion, Her Majesty's 35th Foot, suffered not a single fatal casualties after its ill-fated fiasco of 23rd April 1858. Captain Lee Grant marches from, as you can see, from Ara against Raja Qamar Singh to Jagdishpur on 23rd April 1858. This is a totally hand-drawn map conceived and drawn by the scribe. So plagiarizers should be alert, and there are full of, these are full of, the academic world is full of them. Like recently one of my maps, rather many of my maps were plagiarized by one Nick something in a book published by Helion Books, England. And I bought this book and I wrote a review about this plagiary on the Amazon book site, but no shame from Helion Books UK. Typical of it. Anyhow, as you can see, Lee Grant marches from Ara. You can see clearly the scale is 5 miles. You can see crosses the Gangi Nadi and is totally routed at Jagdishpur in the middle of this thick forest. As you can see, Captain Lee Grant marches against Raja Qamar Singh to Jagdishpur, 23rd April 1858. A blunder much whitewashed from the British accounts. When a British reverse occurred in India, a very unique excuse was furnished by the British writers or participants that a wrong word of command was given. This excuse was cited when Her Majesty's 9th Lancers, which somehow manipulated to get the highest number of Victoria Crosses in 1857, as well as Her Majesty's 14th Light Dragoons and 2 Indian cavalry regiments, fled the battlefield at Chilianwala. Again, in the case of Lee Grant, Malleson, who selectively lies and distorts history when he likes, cited the same excuse about wrong word of command, stating as quoted below, quote, the exact course of the events which followed has never been clearly explained, but this is certain that at a critical moment of the advance into the thick jungle, when the men in extended order were about to rush forward with a cheer, the bugler sounded the retreat. By whom the order to sound was given, or whether it was intended to sound the retreat, is not known. The effect of it on a scattered body of men unable to see each other was to cause irretrievable confusion. To repair it, Lee Grant used every means in his power, but in vain. The evil had been done, the men fell back in disorder, followed by the enemy, and abandoning the howitzers, fled to Ara. Unquote. Captain Lee Grant can be squarely blamed for the disaster of 23rd April 1858 because there was a clear precedent of Qamar Singh having ambushed Her Majesty's 10th Foot earlier in almost the same region at Ara. It was theorized that Captain Lee Grant was trying to imitate Major Vincent Eyre's march to Ara and defeat of Qamar Singh some months earlier in mid-1857. Now, Major Vincent Eyre, a British company officer, had defeated Qamar Singh in the same area at Gajraj leading a predominantly British force much smaller than Legrand or Dunbar's forces. But he was a British East India Company officer who were much more well trained and much better, and the British accounts unjustly and falsely accused them of being inferior officers. As you can see, native British writers forget the fact that Vincent Eyre had spent a whole lifetime in India and Afghanistan, was above all a British company officer who knew India like the palm of his hand, while Captain Legrand was a British Army officer, not a British East India Company officer, who had spent cushy time in Ceylon and was absolutely clueless about the British East Indian Company way of warfare. It is also interesting to note that fiascos like units or subunits breaking and fleeing the battlefield was a typically special to Royal British Army affair and rarely ever happened with the British East India Company Army's private units, both European and Indian. Note that the incident of fleeing the battlefield at number 1 Chelianwala, Her Majesty's 14th Light Dragoons, number 2 Ara, Her Majesty's 10th Foot, and Jagdishpur number 3, Her Majesty's 35 Foot, number 4 Her Majesty's 62nd Foot at Firoz Shah, clearly noted by Littler and Fortesque, were all glorious incidents where the rot started with 100% Royal British Army battalions.